Well, it has been since yesterday night when I last put up a video onto this channel, and I hope you guys are really here waiting to see what I really hold after that night that saw two Premier League teams knocked out of the Champions League yesterday night. Arsenal was knocked out by Bayern Munich on aggregate of 3-2, and Man City, the aggregate was 4-4, but guess what? They went ahead to draw. 4-4, penalties, Madrid 3, I think Madrid 4, Man City went ahead to bury 2 penalties at the back of the net, and they went ahead obviously see themselves really knocked out. Who went ahead to miss? It was Bernardo Silva and Mateo Kovacic, right? Luka Modric missed for Real Madrid, but the following for Real Madrid went ahead to bury those balls into the back of the net. 1, Jude Bellingham. 2, Vasquez. 3, Rudiger. 4, who is the fourth guy that really converted that penalty? I've forgotten his name, but obviously 4 players of Man City went ahead to bury that. But for Arsenal, they went ahead obviously lose by 1-0 in a game that all they lacked was chemistry into the final third. They could move the ball from the first third of the pitch very well to the second third of the pitch very well, and they failed to obviously come up and really do a lot of action into the final third. That is it. So smash the like button, comment and share. If you're totally watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. I already have Cash Ivan. Hey RD, can I know transfer news about Ishak? All right, I think I'm not going to talk transfer news here. Let's talk these player ratings. Let us get them done, and then I'll come back and obviously answer your questions, right? Or maybe towards the end of the video, I'll be gladdened to obviously have an audience with you when it comes to really these transfers for the side of Arsenal. And I know very many strikers, very many players are going to be linked to Arsenal after them being knocked out of the Champions League. So let's see close to 300 likes much in this video, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And Ivan, thank you for obviously being the first person to go into the live chat and really throw your comment in there. That is really very re-energizing onto this channel. Now, the Muslims, Barakallahu fikum, the Christians, we cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ, and may the living to God bless you abundantly. And we're here to bring you the latest news and information as far as everything is really concerned. So let's obviously start it off with the goalkeeper, David Raya. I've gone ahead to some people extending their blame to him that would have gone ahead to really do something better, to obviously fist that ball farther from the 18 yards box area. But I tell you what, he did his job, and there is no reason you're going to blame him. All you have to blame is Ben White and Bukayo Saka. Where were they when the goalkeeper tipped that ball and it found Guerrero when Guerrero was really unmarked? That is the hugest question that you'll ever want out to go in and really question the person into that area. So for me, I'm giving David Raya a 5 out of 10. Remember, he had gone ahead to do a mistake at the beginning of the second half, where Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes had gone ahead to obviously close down Harry Kane, and he came off his goal line, and Gabriel Magalhaes plays a back pass to him, and it results into a corner. If it was in the mouth of the goal, it would have been one of those own goals that would have gone ahead to blame the goalkeeper, because you ask yourself, where was he going? Where was he going? Because I saw it in the game of Aston Villa for the second goal and I condemned it. You know, Emily Smith-Rowe is having a player with him. You get? Why do you have to obviously come to close where Oli Watkins is? So I think he's trying to be a little bit of problematic, but I think he can obviously find himself rectified better and better and better. So we go to Benjamin White. I think he's one of those ones. He's one of those to blame for the first goal. Where was he and Bukayo Saka? Where was he? And he gets a 4.5 out of 10 from me. That is it. He takes that for me because that game was all about not making a mistake, you know. And it resulted to be out like the first goal that Arsenal conceded against Aston Villa. Remember, against Aston Villa, Arsenal went ahead to concede a goal where none of the left back or left forward had been tracking back. And what's the name of the guy? That Jamaican guy that plays for Aston Villa that scored the first goal against Arsenal. I've forgotten his Leon Bailey was in acres of space alone. Even yesterday, you saw to it that Saka and Benjamin White were nowhere to be seen. So that shows you exactly how they never really down tools. And I went ahead to blame Martinelli for the goal because if the others were away and the cross was brought in, why do you dare lose your man? I'm giving Ben White a 4.5 out of 10. Let's go to the left back. Tomiyasu, apart from the moment, went ahead to obviously gift out that ball because he thought that no one was there. And Leroy Sen was like sprinting and went ahead and got past him in the first half that resulted into a corner. Very much well defended by Saliba. I think he did everything right. For the goal that Arsenal conceded, I don't blame him. I don't blame him because I know exactly what was there. He was marking Leroy Sen, and Martinelli was supposed to be marking Joshua Kimmich. That is it. So that is it exactly, and we are really having a very I don't know whether we are really okay with that, but I know we are not going to be okay. But Benjamin White, 4.5 out of 10. Tomiyasu, 5.5 out of 10 for me. Then Gabriel Magalhaes, 6 out of 10 for me. He deserves a 6 out of 10 for me. I think one of the things I said that he shouldn't do, he never went ahead and did it in that game. He never did any mistake. He was very, very much on point and he defended very well. Him and William Saliba went ahead to close down Harry Kane very well. Harry Kane, the only time he came close to shooting at goal, these two people blocked his shot, deflected off Saliba, and it went into a corner. That was around the 13th minute of the first half. You saw how he went ahead to obviously make that out. So for me, Saliba, 6 out of 10 for the man himself. That is Gabriel Magalhaes. And for William Saliba, he was ice cold really, and he's pure quality and talent. This is where I doubt the words that the manager of France went ahead to say that Saliba makes mistakes. I ask myself, he hasn't gone ahead to make mistakes in the Premier League, yet the opponent is facing the Premier League are really much stronger than the teams France are facing in the qualifiers of the Euros. And you want to tell me that this guy makes mistakes when you've gone ahead to give him games, has gone ahead to represent? That means there is a little bit of bad blood between him and Saliba. But Saliba yesterday was one of the best performing players on the field of play, and he really deserves his flowers. He deserves his flowers, and he was so much concentrated. You saw to it that he got hold onto that ball and made very many touches to obviously find a very good pass. To see to it that he calls Bayern Munich from where they were hiding from to lure them out of their holes. But he was really denied by the lack of composure from the wingers of Arsenal. Because if Arsenal had good wingers, that could obviously take on players like Carl Palmer, Olise, talk about players like maybe Arafaliao, players Kaveshkeria quality. You get? That's what I'm talking about. They would have gone ahead to unpack that low block of Bayern Munich and that compactness that was into the half. Because you saw to it that every time Arsenal got in the 18 yards box area of Bayern Munich, there are very many players of Bayern Munich into that 18 yards box, and Arsenal couldn't obviously orchestrate anything unless a moment of magic would have gone ahead to be pulled. So for me, Saliba, I give him a 7 out of 10 because he looked quite good on the night. We go to Jorginho. He did what he had to do as Jorginho, passing that ball to either sides and defending very well, fouling quickly where needed, and he did the needful as a player, and I really went ahead obviously acknowledge him, and his efforts went recognized into that game of football. And that shows you what experience brings and what a press resistance player brings on the field of play. People have gone ahead to claim out that Partey would have gone ahead to be given a go. I tell you what, Partey has already left Arsenal. I tell you, he's not at Arsenal. Even his mind is not at Arsenal, because he's like telling Arteta, please, I told you to let me go and you told me that you're going to use me. And if you had told me in the summer, we wouldn't have gone ahead to be going through this. So Partey, I don't think that he's going to start any game of Arsenal very soon. I'm giving Jorginho a 6 out of 10. Declan Rice, 6.5 out of 10. I think he did what he had to do, closing down, running into spaces. But I think his set piece delivery was really ugly on the night. It was really ugly on the night. By the way, all the set pieces of Arsenal they got, they're really badly delivered, So I think they need to revise how they do that. But for Declan Rice, 6.5 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10. That is it. We go to Martin Odegaard, one of the players that went ahead to excite me a lot onto the pitch. For me, out of the two halves, the two outstanding players were Saliba and Martin Odegaard. Saliba and Martin Odegaard were the two players that went ahead to obviously excite me on the night. When you look at Martin Odegaard, through all the compactness of Bayern Munich, he found out the best chance of the game for Arsenal when he really cut inside and used his weak foot, that is the right foot, to put in a cutback for Gabriel Martinelli. And guess what Gabriel Martinelli did? He just went ahead to obviously place that ball exactly where Manuel Neuer was yet. He was supposed to hit it to the farthest end, and he didn't. He even hit it with his weak left foot, yet I think the right foot was really nearer and would have gone ahead obviously hit it better to go into the back of the net. In the second half, you saw to it that he was fouled a lot, when he was running towards goal, and there is a shot that he really hit at the near post, and Manuel Neuer went ahead to really face that ball out of the goal area. So Martin Odegaard for me did what he had to do, but he was let down by the players that cannot really act well in tight spaces, and I give him I give Martin Odegaard a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I give him a 7 out of 10. So after that, we go to the forwards of Arsenal. And if you are to blame Arsenal for not winning this game and getting through, I tell you, two players are to be blamed. Saka and Martinelli. I've gone ahead and really shown you how they were part of the reason as to why Arsenal had to concede, the first goal in the game that ended to be the only goal in that game. And I'm going to now paint a picture for you. These players you're talking about, I tell you this, these players you're talking about are of a certain quality, right? They are of a certain quality and caliber. Now, Saka, I repeat it, Saka, with the quality that he is, with the quality that he has as a player, as you people think he is, it was the right moment for him to raise up to the occasion and really do the needful. That is it, I tell you this. It was the moment of Bukayo Saka to really create a moment of magic, because it was the most needed thing, yesterday. If there is anything that Arsenal needed, in as far as magic or all magic was concerned, that's when Saka was needed. But you saw to it that when they are compacted, when the opponents have gone ahead to compact themselves, Arsenal has no plan B from its forwards. The only player they had that could do that was Odegaard. The rest of the players couldn't. I'm talking about those that started. They couldn't unpack that bus of Bayern Munich. So when I come here and I tell you that players like Phil Foden, Kyle Palmer are players that Arsenal should look for, all out for, not exactly like them, but Arsenal should look out for players that can come out and really represent to that level. When I say that, it's not that I'm downplaying the quality of the quality of Martinelli and Saka. It's because I'm telling you the truth that you need players that can act well in tight spaces and really create space where it's not. In that game, all what would have gone ahead to solve Arsenal was, all to redeem Arsenal would have been talent of Saka and Martinelli. Try to risk out a little bit, take on players. But the only time you saw Bukayo Saka taking on players was like running to the outside of his left foot. But he was not really directly focusing into the goal area, I think went ahead to go past. For that, I gave him kudos at the beginning of the game. He went to go past Mazrui and put in a very average cross. It was not really a very good cross, and he put it in, and it went really far off. And to show you how ugly the cross was, Bayern went ahead to obviously win a throw-in from that. So from that, he never really went ahead to commit himself to taking on this guy. And this is what I've always gonna let you know, that you need players that can sit down players. Get off one, face the second one, and enter the 18 yards box area. When you enter the 18 yards box area, then you could really cause havoc to any of those players that you face. For me, I think that is really the real deal. That is it. So I'm not really slating them, but I'm really telling you that that's why Arsenal should get in another player to play onto the side of Saka that really has more quality and more press resistant. That's why you saw to it that when Trossard came in through, you saw to it that he could obviously get hold onto that ball a little bit and obviously invert inside and do the needful. The same applies to Gabriel Jesus. He could obviously try to do the needful. So for me, I'm giving Saka a 5 out of 10, Martinelli 4 out of 10 for me. Those are my ratings I'm giving them. I know most of you won't like them, but that's what I'm getting you. Kai Havertz, 5 out of 10. He was in a graveyard shift. No service was offered to the number 9 of Arsenal. I've always gone ahead to let you know that every number 9 needs service. Every number 9 needs service. And if at all he's not being given service, there is no way he's going to really score. And you've gone ahead to say to it that most of the goals that Havertz has gone ahead to score have not been solo effort goals. They've been goals of quality being created by the players around him. Kai Havertz, 5 out of 10 for me. We go to the substitutes. Trossard, 5.5 out of 10 for me. I think was a little bit off. And he couldn't obviously do the needful very well as a player. Jesus, 5.5 out of 10 for me. He came in through, put in a shift, but I think it was really too late for him to obviously do this because Arsenal couldn't really pass balls to him as a centre forward. And for the balls that went ahead to get, he had to run out of the final third and really get a little bit deep into the second third to pick those balls. And after picking them, he did the needful. So that is exactly what went ahead to happen. Edin Ketia, 4.5 out of 10. Who else came on? I think he brought on Jesus, Trossard, Edin Ketia. And those are the 3 players he brought on. Let me go to the manager. I think tactically he lacked a little bit. He lacked a little bit because one of the substitutes that I went ahead to think about when this game of football was being played was to bring on what's the name of the guy? Was to bring on he's called who? Was to bring on Zinchenko, but you get off Jorginho, you bring in Zinchenko because he's a press resistant player and could obviously find out a line breaking pass and he's press resistant. He would have gone ahead to add another press resistant player to the guy of Odegaard. And the other tricky substitutions were supposed to make way 2 for me. 1, take off Kai Havertz. Take off Bukayo Saka and get in Gabriel Jesus. Take off Martinelli and get on Leandro Trossard. Jesus to play off the right and Trossard to play off the left. Meaning that you would have gone ahead to go in for a head-to-head game. Like attack me, I attack you. You understand? Attack me, I attack you would have been a very good, because Arsenal's having nothing to defend for. All they needed was to go hard and really hit this team. Imagine Arsenal having Odegaard, Zinchenko, and Declan Rice in the midfield 3, right? Jesus as a right forward, Trossard as a left forward, and Kai Havertz still leading the line. All you will get is constant and rapid service of the ball, because Zinchenko and Odegaard will do the needful to obviously connect the midfield to the attack. When you give it to Jesus, you 100% know that he can create a moment of magic. Trossard can, and they will play, all create space for Kai Havertz to really operate better and better into the game. So for me, that's what went into my head. Arteta, 4.5 out of 5 out of 10 for me. That's my rating for him. 5 out of 10 for me. So my man of the match for me, I go with Martin Odegaard. But when someone tells me Saliba, I agree with him, because even Saliba went ahead to really have a very beautiful encounter on the night. Now, Alal Dinkins, good evening, Mr. Aradi. I support Man United, but I wish Arsenal could win the EPL. I would be the happiest. Yeah, there's chances. Arsenal is playing Wolverhampton Wanderers over the weekend. If Arsenal goes ahead to win that game, they go back on top of the Premier League table because Man City is going to be playing against Chelsea on Saturday in the FA Cup, and they return to play against Brighton, in the midweek. That is it. So, that is it. And I also wish Arsenal to win the trophy, but I don't know whether Man City can drop any of the remaining games. They're really having some tricky fixtures. They're having Brighton away, and don't know what happens there. You know exactly what happens there when De Zerbi takes on Pep Guardiola. Then Kahendo Oliver Aradi, good evening. But the problem in Arsenal has no the game winner. All players play accordingly to the influence of the coach or Arteta. But I think Arteta had to really change a little bit of that system, Put Jesus onto the right, put Trossard onto the left, Zinchenko in the middle for Jorginho, and Kai Havertz lead through the center. Magic would have gone ahead to happen, like it or not, because Trossard and Jesus are players that are really press resistant and could obviously create out something special. So I think Arteta needs to upgrade, All else, he has to get in players that can do that individual brilliance you're talking about. Like Douglas Luiz in that game, you're having Douglas Luiz in that game, he could pull out a shot outside the Tina's box area that could go into the back of the net. Something that no Arsenal player really did. Like pulling the trigger from far, Remember the goal Vitinha went ahead to score against Barcelona? It was 1-1 and Vitinha went ahead to pull the trigger to make it 2-1. So, they needed that player with the mentality of like, I can shoot from far. And I don't know what's wrong with Declan Rice. I know how good Declan Rice is when it comes to shooting from far, but he has not gone ahead to obviously shoot, because in these moments, you have to really go ahead and really shoot and see how things really happen. So, Cash Ivan, talking about Alexandra Isak. He's one of those strikers that Arsenal are really looking at, but I don't know whether Newcastle is willing to let him go, because Isak was like, I'm here to stay, I'm going nowhere. That's what you had. So my man of the match, I give it to Odegaard. But if I don't tell me that even Saliba was your man of the match, I won't say a no. So, first video of the day. More videos are yet to come. I sign out for now.